Hey everybody, we are so excited that you're joining us today.
Yes.
You are about to dive in with us in this conversation of what it is to find family and how you might do that, if that's something that you're looking for, or maybe this will just affirm and point out the family you already have. So, without further ado, let's jump in.
All right, here we go. Hey, everyone, we are back. The summer is over.
KJ, you jumped us right in the pool.
That was the point.
Swimming.
There's a couple of things happening today. First of all, we're coming back for the first time in a very long
We
time.
all had a little sabbatical.
And so it's been super cool. Yeah. Also, there's been this bubbling up of purpose and value. And so I'm going to start off this podcast by just kind of setting a bit of purposeful framework. All right. So here we go. So our church has clarified our vocabulary just a little bit as far as our heartbeat goes.
Yeah.
The heartbeat of being experiencing Jesus, finding family, and carry hope. So all of our heartbeats are coming from those very simple phrases.
Yeah.
And so in this particular podcast, from here until the end of time, the point of this podcast is the Finding Family podcast. And it is our hypothesis that family feels very authentic. Family feels open. Family feels safe. Family feels vulnerable.
Yeah.
Family feels good.
Yes.
And so our goal and our hope is to, by sharing a bit of our family, and inviting you into that the idea of finding family can kind of shimmer a bit, so that the desire to find family can be elevated and the ability to find family inside the Christ community context is inspired. So that's kind of the thing. So I am KJ. I'm a pastor at Christ Community. I've been here since 2004. I've had a whole bunch of different jobs here over the time, but I'm the old guy at the table. So each of these people at the table I would consider our family because they have experienced the absolute most incredible things that I've experienced and the pits of hell that I've experienced. And so it's that hand-in-hand conversation. So in saying I'm introducing you to our family, I feel like that I actually am. So go ahead, Nate.
Well, how do I follow that? No, so I'm Nate. I'm one of the pastors here. KJ is actually the reason that I'm here. I don't know if you remember this. The first time you ever called me, 7.5 years ago, I had a conversation with you because you were approaching me about a role we had here in the student ministry. That conversation lasted 3.5 hours, right?
I was exhausted.
I know, but
It should have been.
But there was something about that conversation. When I walked away from it, I went to my wife and I said, I think I found our home. And I've been here over 7 years now. And it truly has been home. And it's home because it's family.
Yep.
Right? You know, we were just talking before we hit record here, just sitting in this room with you guys for this podcast, it feels so good, right? This isn't work. This isn't something that I dread having to do. It's one of my favorite parts of my job. And so, Jenny, how about you?
I'm Jenny.
Hi, Jenny.
Jenny Fresh.
Jenny Fresh.
Jenny Fresh is here. No, I've like KJ, I've been here since 2006, I believe. Yeah, 2006. Again, have had 2 roles, I would say, maybe 3. So yeah, I kind of moved around and just have been able to work with a lot of people on staff here. But yeah, this team has been pretty incredible.
You're coming up on your 20th.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I feel like I've grown up in this job.
Oh,
well, yeah. Almost half your life has been spent here.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. I was how old was I when I started? Well, it was 2013. I'm Stetson. Yeah. That's my name. 2013 is when I started, and I would 24, 25. And now that just seems like a kid.
I know.
Yeah.
You know, like I knew nothing.
Me neither. Yeah.
I was just a dumb kid who thought he knew a lot, and now I know
that you did it.
that I did it. Yeah, I've worn a lot of hats because I'm bald. No, just that's how it's worked. Maybe like 4 kind of main ones, and then like an untold amount of small ones off to the side that maybe 20 or less people know about at each point in time. And yeah, I'm kind of here because of KJ too, which is weird. I was talking to a high schooler. He was asking if I could put him down for a reference, and I was telling him, it's like, man, my dad taught me whenever you turn in a resume, you always ask to like speak to whoever's doing the hiring and just introduce yourself. And every job I've gotten because I did exactly that. You had just led a Good Friday service. And my primary intention was to thank you for that. But we had never met before. We were just downstairs at Zoe's. And I caught you, and I thanked you for the Good Friday service that you did. It was just a big slideshow.
Yeah.
Do you remember that one? Yeah. And then I brought up like a couple of people that we knew mutually. But then like towards the end of it, I was like, should I or no? And I was like, by the way, I'm applying for the middle school director position. And you're like, I'm going to make sure the guy doing the hiring puts your name on the top of the list. And so I was like, wow, it worked at Christ Community too. But that was kind of like the beginning of our friendship.
So half the people at this table are
a
here
lot of people.
Yeah.
because of KJ.
Yes.
I didn't come because of KJ here.
She's almost
I
left
did
a
not
few
show
times
up.
because of him.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
I remember that service, the Good Friday service, because here's some behind the scenes family talk. I have gone through a bunch of seasons here, and the idea of public speaking is not something I've kind of ever been a fan of, but I've kind of honed and crafted that. And so every time I got asked to do something service-esque, I always tried to create experiences that I didn't have to talk.
Yeah.
And so I thought about this idea of doing a Good Friday service, of just putting the quotes of Jesus on a slideshow.
I think this will work.
And it did. It was like,
It was awesome.
I do not have
loved
to
it.
talk the whole time.
Yeah.
It's silent. And people are thinking that this is very profound. And so I was actually,
I don't want to talk.
not
It was
wanting
this
to.
25-year-old kid that
Yeah.
did nothing.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so good. I remember Allie had been a college kid who would come here often.
Let them know who Allie
And-
is.
That's my wife.
Yeah. And I would see her all the time, and she'd always have her Bible open. And so I was going through this thing of like, I'm going to begin to affirm people that I see. And so I go over to Allie, and I said, hey, I always see you here. And I see you like talking to people, and it's really inspiring to me. And he said, oh, thanks. I'm Stetson's wife. I remember going, I don't know who that is. And she pointed you out. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know him. And so it's funny because you become one of my best friends. But in that moment in time, she pointed at you and I didn't know you.
Yeah.
But you have become family.
Yep.
And so thinking about our church context and thinking about the people in our church and outside of our church, I often think about the people I don't know today. If they were pointed out, that could potentially be some of my best friends and the contexts that are built. Have any of you had experiences similar to that?
Yeah, I mean that. I think we all share that same story in the same pool of people. Like each of us came in knowing no one and finding something that has like brought us in. I think so my parents they both grew up on the East Coast, and my whole family lives on the East Coast, but they were these two hippies that traveled in a van, and they settled in Colorado.
Sounds
Like,
about right.
yeah. And so they were the first ones to like break away from like the mass geography of family.
Yeah.
And so I've watched them function away from like biological family and seen just the value of chosen family. And that's what I've found here is I have a huge family now. Members of whom have no idea that they are part of the same family because it's just like all these different circles. But it develops slow.
Yeah.
It has to.
Yeah.
It has to.
I was telling someone had recently started on staff, and they were just talking about how that feels like coming in onto a new staff team and feeling like that they haven't really like begun to be like integrated or like truly be like seen and loved. And it reminded me of another story about you, KJ. I remember, I forget where we were, what we were doing. But it was a really vulnerable moment where I was just like really honest with you. And I said something along the lines of like, man, I'm feeling kind of lonely and like I don't have any friends. Will you be my friend? And you were so excited to do that. And that was the beginning of like, that was like, if there was a clear start, like official marker, like that was the beginning of it. But it like took this like step of like, I didn't know if I even wanted to be your friend when I said that. I was like, let's just dive in. I had a good hunch. I was like, this guy seems awesome. But it's like, yeah, you just kind of got to dive in. And
well,
that's
and
hard.
The other thing too, I think is really important is like when you first meet people, it's really easy to have some kind of preconceived notion about who they are, like based off what you see, what you observe. Like I remember when I joined staff here, like me and Stetson worked together in the student ministry and it was super fun. But like Stetson and I are very different people,
Yeah.
right? We're very different in how we lead and what we do.
Checks out.
Yeah. But I know for you, there was like, okay, like there's some excitement, but there's also a little bit of apprehension, you know, just like let's.
Oh, you intimidated the heck out of me. Like,
But
You still intimidated.
but man, like with time, that I look back on that and that was such a fun, life-giving season of ministry. And like I think about my wife and one of her friends who she considers family. Like there was someone that she like was serving with, and she's like, "This person hates me," and that other person was like looking at her, going, "Oh, that person hates me." But then, do you remember when we went to Tampa?
oh yeah.
Like we took a group of student leaders out to Tampa for like this conference. Like they became family on that trip, and like now these two are like the closest. And I think that's the other thing about family is like appearances initially can be pretty deceiving. Like you might step into a place like Christ Community and go, "Oh, I don't fit here," or "These aren't my people." It's like, but once you actually see past that exterior, like man, you can find some really good family here.
Do you remember the first time we hugged?
Yes.
It was in that room
Yes.
over there. Do you remember? You were there too. You'll remember when I tell this story. But it has to do with what I said. I said, I need to rephrase something I said. I said, you intimidated me. The correct thing is I was intimidated by you. You didn't do anything to like intentionally
I know I'm not a very
intimidate.
imposing person. Like as you're looking down.
Yeah,
at
but
me.
you are like, you spend very little time with you and realize it's like, whoa, Nathan is a force to be reckoned with in the most positive sense of the phrase. But this was another moment of like, I'm just going to dive headfirst in here.
Your courage is amazing.
I know he's very courageous.
And I told, this is like, I don't know, week
like-
2 or something.
Yeah, this is
that
like
you
over
were
7
here.
years ago.
Yeah. And I said, man, I think we just need to immediately get on hugging terms. So bring it in. So I wrapped my arms around you, and you kept trying to let go. And I said, nope. And I squeezed tighter.
Yes, I do remember this.
Do you remember that?
It was in one of our department meetings, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought so.
We were all around that table.
Yeah, but I legitimately think like that did something. Like that that was the beginning of something. It worked.
It really did.
You got to be careful with that strategy.
We're not fully recommending this. Like, don't just go grab someone and hold them.
That's right. Yeah.
I feel like in meeting new people, I'm not good at making friends, believe it or not. Like at the beginning of my marriage with my husband, he was like, you need to make some friends because I was just alone, you know.
Yep.
And it's funny, he actually helped a lot in like introducing me to people and stuff like that who I'm friends with now. But I feel like there's always for me this moment that I'm like a little nervous. I'm very self-conscious when I'm meeting somebody new. Same, like I get intimidated quickly, especially when people are smart, very, very smart. And so
we're looking at you guys.
All of you.
Where?
Where are these people?
Is one of those here?
But there's always this moment that I know somebody will say something and it's the way I would say something or something funny that like nobody else I get that, you know, and there's a connection that happens and that's my best friend right now. When her and I met years ago, like 13 years ago, her and her husband came to our small group and they walked in and, you know, we were all kind of like, she knew I worked at the church and she had this expectation that I was, you know, very holy, very, you know.
Of course.
Yeah, you know, because I worked at a church and there was one thing I said, she would be able to tell you, I don't even remember, but I said something and she had this moment of, and looked at me like, yes. And like, and from then on, it's like, okay, you know.
All right. So I experienced a phenomenon the other day that was like an extension of the family field. That was brand new. So Jenny has a daughter whose name is Haley, and I have a daughter whose name is Yara. They're similar in ages. And Haley, she is at our house, and they're doing schoolwork. And I'm typically pretty composed at home. So if Yara has her friends over, and I was doing something in the kitchen, and I just burped super loud. And I didn't even think about it. Like, I was like, you know, I'm at home. I'm burping. I own this house.
Yes.
And,
It's my house.
And Brooke just was like, what are you doing? Like,
And
Haley's here.
Brooke is your wife. I'm
And
trying
I
to get
said,
fun.
and I said, it's just Jenny. And I was like, it's not Jenny, it's Maley. But it was this like who you are transcended into our. And it was just like this like. That feels kind of like family to me.
Maylee told me about that. She said she was really offended. No, I'm kidding. No, she actually felt very honored that like you didn't try to like put on, you know, like.
I'm pretty sure your daughter's burped at my house
Probably
with my wife.
guarantee.
Yeah.
This exposes a reality or a possibility of chosen family. I think when people think of chosen family, they only think of brothers and sisters in that family. But you just talked about a niece.
It's good.
So true.
You can choose an intergenerational
Absolutely.
family. You can choose your uncles
Yep.
and your
I love
aunts
that.
And I choose
and your
my
grandparents.
other kids.
What,
times.
and honestly,
Nieces and nephews.
yeah.
like
Unfortunately,
all the stuff we're talking about right now, there's a depth to the relationships that are shared around this table. There's a depth to all the relationships that we have with people we'd consider family who aren't around this table. And I really think that, and Dada would actually really kind of back this up in younger and older generations. That's what's missing for people, right? Like trying to truly understand what does it mean to be family, right? Because we might go, oh yeah, I got family, but it's just like an acquaintance that you see every once in a while and maybe shoot a text to. And I think we all have those. Those are important, but there is something about going deep with the people in your life so that you can actually get to that place of comfort, but also have some of the deeper conversations. Like I think about the conversations I've had with actually all of you guys, like they're pretty deep. Like we've gone to some pretty significant places.
And
both
conflict, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the conflict thing is a big one. I mean, like, people can sit around the table and they can have conversations about death. But if you don't actually go there in deep, dark experiences, those things don't have form. You're able to talk about grace and compassion, and until you actually have to give it to someone else, it's not. I mean, I was just thinking about the things of like, what are the things that like caused us to cross that threshold of like family, from being like a friend to saying, I think that you're a part of this like forever family that I have, and I will very quickly think about the really difficult times. It's like, wow, that pressed us on through, or the conflicts that have happened that you have cared enough to fight hard, and to come out on the other side. It's like, man, I think our friendship has gone up a plateau because there's substance there. I think it's very common for people to be friends and then encounter conflict, and then they both just vanish because they're scared of it. But it's actually this like portal into something incredible if you can go through it. If you can go through the portal, it'll transform you and the thing you have into something valuable. Have you all ever experienced that?
I've argued with all of you. I don't think you.
I don't think we've had a fight yet.
I don't think we've had a fight yet.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
You're of the fight.
I'll try to figure one out for
Okay,
us.
thanks.
Yeah.
Just be offensive. But KJ, I remember, I mean, you and I have had multiple like interactions over the years and stuff, but I remember like early on in our friendship, you pulled me aside one time out of a meeting, and we were in a meeting, and you had said stuff, and I thought you were coming on like harsh, you know, and afterwards, like, I didn't have the guts to say anything to you, and you pulled me aside and you looked at me and you said, "Was I a jerk in there?" And I was like, "Yes." Like, you like totally opened the door so I could be like, "Yes, you were." And you were like, "Okay, sometimes I can cut." Like, you had the awareness of yourself and everything. And I remember nobody had ever in my life opened that door and given permission, you know. Like, it was great. So then after that, I could easily just be like, "Hey, I got to talk to you about something."
Yeah. I think like the openness of conflict and hard times causes us to see each other. I think like there's been, you know, several times that each of you, because you know things that I'm like sensitive to, or we've been together so much that it's kind of like you already know the things that I'm thinking, that I almost like see you stepping in front of me before something happens, or saying, "I see you, I've got this." Or if you don't, and it's just like, man, in those times, it's like, wow, I am.
You know,
seeing
my favorite question, and both of you have asked me this question at different times, like when I'm in a season that is hard and I'm navigating something challenging, like you don't step in with an answer. You don't step in with a solution. You've just stepped in and said, "Hey, how can I be a good friend to you right now?" Right. And I think that there's something about that exists in family too, where the goal is like, I just want to be good to you, and I want to be a good friend. Like, I don't want to fix you. I don't want to change you. Like, I just want to serve you. Yeah. Because we've all had conflict. Like, we know what that's like. But I think we've all experienced the other side of it, right? Yeah. Just that grace and that beauty. Like, there's something about having honor and respect for another person. Because like so much of our culture and society is like we want to use people and like we got to kind of climb over people. But I really feel like in this kind of context, when we talk about family, it's like, no, I don't want to climb over anybody. I want to maybe lift people up. I want to journey with people.
Yeah, that's good.
It could be misunderstood that we have what we have because we're really good at this.
We are not.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say that we're bad at it, but I think there's a couple ingredients in the recipe of the family that we're a part of. Just because I think if someone was watching this and they were feeling particularly lonely and isolated,
They would have turned it off already.
right? Yes, yeah. This could seem a little bit too easy, but kind of pulling back the curtains a bit, time is a really big factor in the connections that we have. Minimum was 7 years, but max was how long have you?
Like almost 20 for these two.
Yeah, so almost 20 max, and then I'm there in the middle. That time and that consistency leads to a lot of the things that we're talking about. Intentionality is a big part of it too. Like I force myself at times to enter into uncomfortable spaces. Not physical spaces, but just like conversations.
It's like underneath the crawl space.
Yeah, it would be so...
Made it. He's just practicing what that book talks about.
I'm pretty sure you're.
He's not fighting for comfort.
I learned something
comfort
about
crisis.
Nathan hiding in his attic. And I use that in our friendship. Wow.
I don't hide in my attic. It's the air conditioner.
No. Oh yeah, my leg
said
is
you're in an
literally
uncomfortable
fed
position.
through the legs of his table because my legs are too long to get close to the microphone. But like, I don't know. We've had a lot of conversations that we really did not want to have, but knew that we needed to, and because like we did that, we have been really vulnerable with we've invited each other into really vulnerable places. That's a really hard thing to do. We didn't just coincidentally meet there, but we unlocked the door and opened it and turned on the porch light and said, "You want to come over?"
Yeah.
I got bad news.
Like it hasn't been just like this magical, like everything clicked right away, but like it took a lot of time and a lot of intentionality.
I read this book. And he was drawing this example. He was talking to someone who played in the NFL. He was a linebacker and he played for 10 years. And he asked the linebacker the linebacker asked him, "How many plays do you think I've played?" And the guy's like, "Tens of thousands." And he's like, "Yeah, tens of thousands." And he's like, "I had 36 sacks out of tens of thousands of plays, and I have a successful career." So that there were tens of thousands of times that I failed, but I had the successful career because I found the gaps 36 times. And so you think about I think about, man, all the friends I tried to find from kindergarten to the age I'm at, and the people who have come and gone, and the pursuit, the trying to join small groups and community groups, and how many small groups, and like the desire to find the place you belong. I mean, like, is huge. This idea for belonging and for family. If you have that, that is like rooted in our soul.
Yep.
It's the holy grail of of purpose and calling. Like I belong here.
Yeah.
And so I think like to see it as such that it's a gift. And so if you are gifted to be able to have the opportunity, how do you honor it? How do you grow it? And how do you have your hands open in some context to say, I don't think this is it?
I think a big piece is just recognizing it for what it is and for what it's worth. Because, I don't know, things like this and like the show Friends or New Girl or like, I don't know, name any sitcom. And they just make it look so easy.
Yeah.
Of just like, oh, everyone should have this beautiful community where you're really seen and you can just walk into each other's front door and it's not a big deal. But that's actually like really, really rare and really special and valuable.
And everyone should have it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. Like I think like the desire of our heart is like, man, how is this like given to be like everyone should like this is our heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and I think you got to fight for it. Like truthfully, it doesn't happen by accident. Like, and I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but like you can't, like, so think about our church, right? If somebody wants to find family at our church, you're not going to find it if you just show up, go to a weekend service, leave, and don't talk to anybody, right? You can't build community that way. You can't build relationships that way. You can't find family like that. Like, you have to, one, recognize it. You've got to see the need that you have in your heart for it. And then you got to put yourself out there. You got to fight for it. You got to like invest in the relationships that you have.
Yeah, I got to tell you guys a story because it's kind of fun. Here's this guy at our church who, when I first came here back in like forever ago, he was the first volunteer who he said, I want to be by your side. And so from that time on, he and I, kind of talking person, but anytime there's a baseball game, a Rockies game on, it is guaranteed the both of us have it on. And he and I are sending texts back and forth. And like, we're talking about the game back and forth, blah, blah, blah. And I go to a ton of baseball games. Like it's kind of the thing that I do. And I'm into baseball. But Chad and I haven't ever gone to a baseball game together. And so he's going to Peru, like he's going to be gone. And so he kind of just like said, hey, it's time for us to go to a baseball game. I will buy the tickets. And so our game is to see the LA Dodgers, who's the best team in baseball, play the Rockies, who are the absolute bottom of the barrel team in baseball. And he and I are sitting side by side together, cracking jokes the whole time. At some point, I even thought about pulling out my phone and texting him because that's my habit.
And he's right
he
next
was
to you.
sitting right next to me. He's my baseball guy. And then somehow, by the grace and compassion of God, the Rockies win against the Dodgers, and I thought, tonight we are kings, and I'm here with my baseball friend. We've been together, and like, and he's having a pork sandwich, and I get to see him like and it felt a lot kind of like family, and time and space kind of paused.
Yeah.
That he and I high-fived and acted the same at the game, although he's older than I am, and our hearts combined. And there was just like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe that moment, but it was cool.
There's something about proximity, right? Like, so I've lived in a couple different places. And
Hong Kong.
Yes, Hong Kong. But in each of these places, no, like I've had the group, right? I've had that family,
yeah.
but then
Have you really lived in Hong Kong?
no, Jetty, or have I?
Are you sure?
No, but then like, I move, and eventually
Jetty.
as time goes on, the relationships kind of change, and then we find some new family. I think about my own like biological family. Like I don't have really any family who lives in the state. My wife has a brother. Like that is literally it. Nearest family is like a 16-hour drive away. My family, like I know they're my family. I get that in my head, but they don't really feel like my family. It's the people around me, the people I see, the people I talk to, the people I live life with. Like that's my family. And there's something like about what you just shared with that story of Chad. It's like, yeah, we can connect. Like there's beauty in that. But like when we're together, there's something different about that. I mean, seriously, we're talking about it on a podcast.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have told us that you were texting him if there wasn't this whole experience of going to the game and the magic and the beauty and the wonder of it. So I think that's got to be a part of our pursuit of family as a church. Like it's not just this ethereal, oh yeah, I've got friends from, 15 years ago in college. It's like, no, like, but who do you have here? Who can you see here? Whose porch can you go sit on here?
Yeah, I mean, like, don't you think about like the practicality of the gospel, the truth that you're invited into his family is one of the biggest gifts of the gospel. So much is put on the fact that death does not have the final say, but how do you live and who are you going to live with? The gift of community to a heart that's alone and asking, where do I belong? Can you experience the fullness of the gospel apart from family?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I think it's a cause to pursue and to fight for and to value and to uphold.
Yeah. Well, and that is why it's one of our core pillars as a church, right? We believe in finding family so much that we said, hey, like if there are 3 things we want you to do here, it's experience Jesus, find family, carry hope, right? If people can do that, we'll feel pretty good about where we are in our discipleship journey.
And I think it's also like if people were unable to find family here, we would be utterly missing the mark.
Yep.
Like if family was inaccessible, I have no idea what we're doing, but I know we're not accurately being the church as it was intended, representing and living out the gospel as it is. So, yeah, like it's not this novel thing that my conviction is. This is a personal statement that could sound judgmental towards other churches, but that's not what's meant here. I like a lot of churches, they have like, these are the unique things that make us us. I don't think it's just like this unique passion or niche or hobby that Christ community happens to have. Like the church must be family. It's a requirement. It's not like, let's go after this because this would be good. It's like, no, this is essential for us to do anything good.
I remember my mom always used to say, like when I was in high school and stuff, like when you move out and when you're in the world, like if you're ever lonely, you find yourself a church. You will find friends. You will find, like that is where you go to find, and
you're still in Greeley.
And here I am with you guys. She was wrong.
You didn't find friends, you found family.
Well, even the fact that you didn't leave Greeley, because you grew up here. That's why I keep saying that.
Yeah.
But what she said is still true. And it wasn't because you left home.
Right. Yep. Exactly. And I think to what you were saying, Nate, just the intentionality of keeping friendships like nurtured is a huge piece of it because, we've had people come in and out of our lives, my husband and I think about those people, they maybe moved away, but the intentionality stopped, and that, they were great friends, but it completely stopped. And then there were other people that moved away and the intentionality was there and it still is there.
Yeah.
And we can pick up every 6 months, no matter what,
Well, and I think that's okay, right? I'm not one of those people who believes like, hey, once you're close to someone, you got to stay close until the day you die. Like, I think we know the difference between, hey, these are good friends who are going to be with me in this season, and then these people are family, right? Like, there is a big difference between that. And I think it's really important not to try to make every friend family, right? Because have you ever gone to a family gathering with like 100 people? It is just insane.
No,
and
that sounds terrible.
I know, but like, find your family and go after it and hold on to it.
Yeah.
So what would you say to somebody, I'm speaking for myself because I'm not good at like connecting immediately, making friends. What would be a piece of encouragement or a question or something that you would tell somebody that maybe is new to Christ's community or has been here for a while but doesn't feel connected?
Mine's a bit of a two-parter.
Yeah.
One, like we've already talked about, you got to kind of put yourself out there.
Yep.
And that's really difficult. I do not want to communicate that as an easy thing. That's a very hard thing. But when you do that, I liked what you were saying of like, you just throw out like a statement or a comment and you see how it's received and you're like, oh, like we can be friends. Like, I was like, oh, I do that too.
Never
Yeah,
mind.
it's usually an inappropriate joke or an inappropriate time for a joke. And if the other person laughs, it's
long
like, okay, there's potential here.
We've got a few experiences like that together.
Yeah. The old, like, 100% green flag, we could definitely be friends used to be, you enjoyed the season finale of the show Lost. It's like, oh, we can definitely be friends. But that's not saying we wouldn't be if you didn't like it. But now, like, I think what you're saying, all that to say, I think the heart underneath that is if you try to be, it sounds a bit cliche, if you allow yourself to just be yourself, and you allow others to just be them and see what happens.
Yeah.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah, and I think context is important too, because I think like sometimes it's hard to connect to people at church, like a church service.
In the
because,
yeah.
you know, it's just, and then there's the assumption that everyone else is connected except me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like I'm coming in. I haven't really, I don't know anybody, but everyone here, they all know each other. This is a bit of a cop out, but it's allowed. If you come up to me, or if you come up to Mariana or Jenny or Stetson or Arnate or someone who gives the impression of being connected, and you said, I would love to be better connected here.
Yeah.
I would say I have tons of people to introduce you to. I love introducing fantastic people to fantastic people. Like that's a big part of our job is building those connections, because I have the gift of having been here like a super long time. And oh gosh. Okay, something I tend to do just behind the scenes a bit. I've been here so long that I know a lot of the behind the scenes stories of who people are. And it is inauthentic to me to give the same sermon to a different group of people on Saturday to Sunday to or the two services,
9 and 11,
because there's different people and I see you and I know your context and I know your stories, and so I leave the open spaces through my sermons so that I can respond to who you are. And so I have this gift of being able to see you. And at the end of the services, I often will just say, I'm just so thankful to be a part of your family. I'm thankful because I see you, and I do. I know you. And you're fantastic. And if I could do anything, I would just give you hours to just talk to each other because you belong together. Like that's I like just talk. Yeah. If you knew the person you were sitting by, it would blow your mind. You know, like and I see you. And so if it would help to have some help.
Yeah.
Come up to us, say hello, and say, I want help getting
Well,
connected.
and KJ is so good at that. So the week before I moved out here, you sent me and Matt Larkin a text. You said, hey, Matt, you have 4 daughters. Nate has 4 daughters. Why don't you guys connect when you get out here? And we did.
Yep.
And Matt has become a friend. And literally 2 months ago, I hired him into our staff family.
Yep.
Right. And that happened with this connection. But like, I see you doing that all the time. Like you did that even like 2 weeks ago with me and a guy. You're like, hey, you should really connect. And so if that's you, like we would love to do that. I think the last thing or the only thing that I would say in addition to that is, there's like the put yourself out there, right? So you show up for things. And we've all kind of talked about this in different capacities, but maybe find a place to serve, right? Because like when you step into, like I think about the student ministry and the community that happens there and the family that's built there with leaders, or even like the Serve 6-8 stuff or what's happening in the Loop or Tiny Tots. Like there is something about being on a shared mission with people, having shared experiences that can help you find your people. Because the reality is like if you got a heart for something, they have a heart for something, maybe there's a little more similarity there than you would have initially thought.
Yep, I agree.
It is kind of funny that like these are the things that the 4 of us actually sit down and talk about. Like this is our conversation and the things that are important to us. So hopefully you're getting to see some of the behind the scenes stuff. You have our heart and so is there anything else for our time together today, or is this a good start to a fantastic thing?
It's a good start.
It's a good start. It's a great start.
All right, everyone. We will talk to you soon.